We'll move on to the next question now, which comes from Naomi Brandon. Naomi.
What do you think can be done to tackle disillusionment with politics and low voting turnout, particularly amongst our age group?
So what do you think we could do to tackle politics, encourage more of a turnout? Our age group perhaps being 18 to 24-year-olds. Let's start with Hazel this time.
Well, first of all, I think if you get more young people involved in politics, it creates a kind of virtuous circle, and other young people see that young people are involved and they think it's not all done by old people like me and others. And I've certainly found this last 12 months, it's been quite a surprise that I've had more young people join the Labour Party, more people get involved in campaigning. Maybe it's because the fight's on and it's going to be close and it's going to be tight. And my campaign team, I've got a member of my campaign team here who's a student at Man Metz, are predominantly all under 30. The problem is, and Steve won't mind me saying this, that they're nearly all men, and we're desperate for some young women, so if there's any young women in the audience, please do get involved. Secondly, I think that the way in which political parties function has to be changed completely. I don't know about you, but sitting in meetings where you still do minutes, matters arising, resolutions, reports, and you have to go to a meeting on the second Tuesday and the third Thursday, doesn't reflect any normal person's kind of life. And I think that, you know, we're not normal in politics. I wouldn't claim that we are. But I think the way that most political parties are structured is entirely out of kilter with the way that people lead their lives today. And I think political parties need to grasp that issue. I also think that having more young people in positions of influence, and this is, I do disagree with Douglas, it's a serious point about young women. I think having more young people as school governors, as magistrates, involved in civil life, taking decisions, taking responsibility, will again help to engage people. There's no point in being a young person and being a spectator in politics, but actually taking part. There is no substitute for taking part and being at the centre of political decision making, taking responsibility and really understanding what that means, because that is the thrill of it. You are making decisions that affect people's lives and hopefully you're trying to improve things as well. But I think there's a whole range of practical things you can do. Some of those I tried to do in the department about getting young people more involved, the youth parliament, getting people making citizenship classes far more political. Why are our citizenship classes about you know, how the institutions work? The best ones are where you get, you know, you say to a class of 16, 17-year-olds, right, we're going to do a petition. What's the big issue? Let's get down to the council chamber. Let's do the lobby. Politics in action is what gets people excited, not simply politics in theory.
Okay, and Iain.
Well, I mean, Hazel would know all about low turnouts because her turnout in her constituency was, at the last general election was one of the lowest in the entire country. I think it was 35–36%. But
Fortunately, we can't clarify that. But
I think the important thing is to get across just how important that it is that we all get involved, and it is your generation that are actually going to bear the brunt, and my generation as well, of what has happened over the last 10 years, and it's absolutely vital that we all have our say in how we actually sort that out. Because, you know, we had a discussion at the Conservative Party conference about raising the pension age to 66. Now, when I retire and when you retire, I would be absolutely shocked if the pension age was still 66, because the way that the economy is going at the moment, we are probably going to have to work till 67, till 68, till 70 even. So it's absolutely 110% vital that this generation actually get involved with politics and actually make the decisions that affect them in the future. And I think that penny is beginning to drop, because if it's left to everyone else, then it's going to be you guys that end up picking up the bill.
Douglas, before we go to the audience for comments, we'll just quickly get your thoughts. If you could be slightly brief, please.
Sure. I mean, I'm amazed to hear there's any discussion at this year's Conservative Party conference. I missed it if there was. I was up in Manchester a few weeks ago, last week indeed, on the Monday, just for a few hours. It was all I could have bared, I have to say. And I was doing a panel for the BBC with Jeremy Hunt, your esteemed Shadow Culture Secretary. And he was insisting that the problem is, you know, social media, we need to Twitter more, we need to YouTube more, we need to Facebook. They just don't get it. The reason why people, particularly young people, are not engaged in politics is because, by and large, there is little choice between the three main parties. When I see Clegg come on the TV, my first thought is, I think it's David Cameron. No, it's that other guy who looks like him. There is very little to tell between the manner of our politicians and actually very little difference to tell between their policies. This is because, by and large, our politicians seem to be in agreement across the House of Commons that all the big decisions have been taken. They haven't been taken by us. Quite often they haven't even been taken with our approval. But something comes up like the sovereignty of this nation in relation to the Lisbon Treaty, and you can't get any statement out from any of the parties. The Conservative leader said the day before the first day of the Conservative Party conference that there would be no discussion of Europe at his conference. And sure enough, like all loyal people, they all didn't have a discussion about Europe. I mean, Jeremy Hunt told me that they were starting a new Twitter group in which you could save your local pub. I said, how about saving this country's local sovereignty? Had that ever occurred to you? No. That's why people end up not caring, because they don't believe the politicians are offering them serious alternatives.
Well, let's, I think there's some comments there, yeah. Let's go for the lady at the front for the comment, yeah.
Yeah, it's just in regards to young people kind of engaging in politics. I personally think the issue is not necessarily that we can't relate to politicians, it's more to do with this is going to sound silly, but young people don't understand politics. We're not taught it in schools compulsory. If I had not studied politics at A-level, I literally wouldn't have understood a single word any of you were saying. But not everyone does study politics at A-level or at university. It's a complicated system. And if young people don't understand how it works, how the electoral system works, and understand things like what the bench is, what the cabinet is, simple things, they're not going to vote because they don't know what they're voting for.
Thank you very much. Any other comments at all?
I'm sorry, I completely disagree. I think we're very intelligent people. I think students are one of the most intelligent people, citizens. And I think that's why we don't vote, because we do understand that you're not telling us the truth, and we do understand that. And I think if you look at older people, older generations, they turn to another option, and that's voting for extreme parties. And we see it by the raise of votes of the BNP and other extreme parties that they're sick of it too.
Thank you very much indeed. Can we go back to the questioner? Naomi, would you mind coming up just one more time, just very briefly, and just if you can tell us what your thoughts are?
Okay. Well, I agree that there's little choice between the main parties, and that is an issue. But also, lots of young people I know are really passionate about political issues, like about climate change, environment, fair trade policies, all sorts of things like that. So they are passionate about politics, but they don't have the choice to vote for the kind of things they are passionate about with the main parties that we've got.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay, on to our final question, which comes from Yusuf Ibrahim. Yusuf?
Who do you think will win the next election?
Okay, so our final question, and literally in less than 10 words, please. We'll start going with Iain round this way and go all the way around the panel. Iain, who's going to win the next election?
I hope that the Conservative Party will be elected at the next election and deliver the change that the country very desperately needs. But
that's more than 10 words. Stop there. Hazel.
The Labour Party, and especially in Salford.
Great. Douglas?
The Conservative Party will inevitably win. It'll be a one-term government. For those of you with historical memories, people are already saying it'll be the Ted Heath government. I don't think it's going to be as good as that.
Stop there. That was way beyond 10 words. Yusuf as well, would you like to tell us who you think will win the next election?
I've no idea.
Thank you very much.
I think it might be hung. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll see. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, the politicians might get hung.
Hazel, you'll be fine. Okay. That's it. That's the end of the show. So thank you very much indeed to our panel for taking part. Please give them a round of applause. Until next time, thank you, and check out our website, catch21.co.uk. Good night.